Hey there, Blip here, and today for you guys I bring to you a video on combustion. Now this video is going to cover pretty much all of the types of combustions you can do, and it's going to be a bit different from my other rotation and combustion guide. In that video I went into more detail about certain things and why I do it. In this video I'm just going to show you the combustions and what situations you would use them in. Now, completely different to last video, I'm going to have a spell queue window in the top left which will show you the order and pressing everything in, so that should help a lot of you that are a bit confused or may have a hard time following along because I have nowhere to display like how it was done in the previous video, so you had to just go along with what I was pressing and what I was saying. So this should make it a lot easier for a lot of you. Yeah, if you do like this type of video, be sure to subscribe, and then you'll be able to see a lot more stuff like this, because this is the sort of videos I tend to make quite frequently, and I'm also going to be doing a lot more stuff Mage related. Otherwise, let's get straight into the video. Simple combustion. Now this is simply your combustion, what it will look like in the middle of your rotation whenever you have combustion coming up, without any crits. Simple combustion, but with double Pyroblast Opener. So this is simply to get your Infernal Cascade up as soon as possible, and if you're going into your combustion with 0 crits, this is what you would do for the most DPS. Simple combustion plus 1 crit. This is simply when you're going into your combustion with 1 critical strike already, and I'm going to show you how to perform that now. Simple combustion with 2 crits, in other words a hot streak. This is simply your combustion whenever you're going into it with a hot streak ready. Opening 0 crits. This is simply your opener when you do the pull timer, and if you're going into it and your initial Pyroblast doesn't critical strike, then this is what you do in that combustion. Timewarp combustion with no crit in the opener. So similar to the other Pyro opener I just showed you, this one is with Timewarp, which changes up your rotation slightly. Opening combustion with 1 crit on your initial Pyroblast. This combustion is simply what happens if your first Pyroblast on your opener crits. Timewarp opener with 1 crit. The same combustion you just saw, but this time with Timewarp added on top, which changes it up slightly. Pyroblast Opener. It's very important when you're doing this opener that you make sure you time your Pyroblast to finish casting once the boss is being pulled already, since you'll be fire blasting midway through the cast. This combustion is typically used when you want to get your cooldown on your combustion off as soon as possible, and those few seconds can make the difference. Think fights like Mythic Sludge Fist and Mythic Council of Blood, where the Attendant comes in. AoE Combustion. This is simply your combustion whenever you go into an AoE situation. I'm going to open with a fireball into a crit, simply because that gives you 1 extra heating up which you can spend into flame strikes. Okay, so now I know some of you are going to have trouble doing the double fire blast into double pyroblast combustions, so this part of the video is going to help you overcome that, and I'm going to tell you a few things about pulling off the double fire blast, double pyroblast that should really help you. First of all is distance to your target always matters a lot. Obviously the further away I am, the more time the fireball has in the air, so I have more time to do my double fire blast into double pyroblast, which is going to be really handy for me. The closer you are, the more harder it becomes to do double fire blast, double pyroblast, and if you're like this close even, I just wouldn't recommend it. It's just way too RNG, and as soon as you accidentally messed up your, heating up and waste a crit because you did the double fire blast or pyroblast, you will lose way more damage than the 10% you would gain on the initial double fire blast, double pyroblast. So distance is key. Only ever do double fire blast, double pyroblast if you're far enough distance away from the target. The other thing that will help you out a lot, I think, in this regard is making a macro. So here's a little separate macro I made for my combustion. Now what this is going to do is it's going to cast my combustion first and then my fire blast second at the same time. This is going to give me the maximum time in my combustion window to get another fire blast off, because fire blast, as you see here, does have a cooldown. But it has its own global cooldown, right? It's independent on itself, and you can cast it while casting other spells. So it makes it really nice that you can just cast this while casting your combustion, which is going to give you that opportunity to get another fire blast off without having to stress too much about that timing towards the end of your fireball cast. I'll show that in action here now. I recommend putting this on a separate keybind, like this is my one here. I'm going to put it on here for now because I want to show you how it works. Otherwise, have a different key binding, because you're not always going to want to fire blast in your combustion, because as I said, this is only for double fire blast, double pyro blasting. So have a separate key binding if you're comfortable putting this on. Otherwise, I'll just show you this in action now. Going to fireball, going to double fire blast, double pyro blast. So the key there is just to keep pressing fire blast until you see your hot streak, and as soon as you see your hot streak, switch to spamming pyro blasts, and then that's as easy as it gets. Okay, so that's all for the double fire blast, double pyroblast part, but now what about when you feel like you can't get enough damage in towards the end of your combustion? Well, now that's all to do with when you're combusting during your fireball cast. If you've seen my combustions now in the previous part of this video, you probably saw some of the combustions where I just didn't get that pyroblast to crit, or I just barely got it off. Now this is all to do with the time you're actually combusting with your combustion, right? I'm just going to put my old combustion macro back now because I prefer that a lot, and I can do double fire blasting without the other macro I showed you. But I'm just going to quickly get my combustion up here. Okay, so yeah, remember, as soon as you press combustion, you have 12 seconds to do all your damage and get all your hot streaks and consume all your everything, you get everything in that damage window. So that means that if you combust a bit too early, like for example if I combust on like 0.5 seconds remaining, the 0.5 seconds less I'm going to have in my combustion towards the end. However, if I leave my combustion too late, that might make it harder to do, double fire blast, double pyro blasting, but you're not always doing double fire blasting, double pyro blasting, so you can actually just combust at the very last second. But it's very important you don't miss this. It's very important you get the zero. I recommend casting about 0.2 seconds, and that should help you out quite a bit. I'll just show you that here quickly, and I can just get a nice little combustion off. And And as you can see, time is coming short, but because I gave myself so much time, I had so much time at the end of my combustion just to get that last hot streak in there. If you leave yourself less time, it can get a bit more risky, especially when you're not playing with as a troll, because obviously you don't have berserking. And as you like, if I didn't have berserking there, then I still would have got it off because I had the extra time, but it might have been a lot more closer. Which is also why your haste is very important, because that's going to allow you to get, that little bit of damage in at the end of every combustion. So those are two important things I feel like you should really know about combustion, and I feel like they'll help you out a lot. Okay, so that's all for the combustions and everything I feel like you need to know as a mage. Now I'm going to show you some additional combustions that aren't really essential, but they're little nice things that I think would be cool to see and maybe you'll find useful. Scorch Execution Combustion. Now this combustion is something that I thought up recently after doing my Scorch Execution video, and it just gets you an extra hot streak in your, it gets you an extra heating up, in your combustion, which could be a DPS increase or it might not be a DPS increase. I don't really know until someone actually sims it, but I thought I would just include it because you never know, this might be handy to you in the future, or it might become something that becomes useful in the future. Single target AoE Combustion. This is a combustion I found incredibly useful in a fight like Stone Legion General's Mythic, where I want to do a single target combustion to get my cooldowns up quicker, so I'll have them up for the next set of ads. But on top of that, I also want to do some AoE damage in that combustion to get more damage in general out. So this is that combustion. It requires it requires Bloodlust to do perfectly, but you can also do it without. I'm just going to show you the Timewarp variant. Okay, so I wasn't actually playing with Discipline of the Grove there, but if I was, I would have the extra Fire Blast and that Flame Strike would have crit at the end, instead of Scorching. Otherwise, yeah, that's the combustion I use on Stone Legion Generals, on pools, as soon as a bat spawns so I can get my combustion up. And yeah, it's a simple single target AoE combustion. Let me know if you think this is useful, or maybe you think it's completely useless. Either way, I thought doing critics is a nice little thing. But either way, that's all for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful and insightful, and yeah, if you have any questions about your combustions or anything else regarding combustion, be sure to leave a comment in the description. I'll do my best to help you out. If you want to help support the channel, then be sure to subscribe. If you also want to help further support the channel, you can also check out the channel Patreon in the description, and also the YouTube membership I have set up. I also have a Discord set up in the description if you want to come along and ask any questions. There's quite a lot of people in there now, it's getting quite nice, and yeah, it's nice to see you guys around. I would also really like to thank our supporters that are helping me out right now with the channel, which is Rudai Wang, Newstar, T_M, Aaron, and then my two Patreon supporters, Jake and Marvin. Without you guys, honestly, it would be a lot harder to make this stuff, and it honestly just makes me so happy that people are willing to help support me like this. I can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.